Master Traitors.
Master Traitors.
And we
Master Traitors. Master Traitors. Master Traitors. Master Traitors, Traitors, Master Traitors, 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 Master Traitors, 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 Master Traitors, Season 2, U.S. Traitors, Season 2 of the U.S. version.
Streaming on Peacock. That was pretty good. That was fun. Yeah. Thanks for joining us again. I am your Snake Daddy Cheeseburger Princess Shitposter Supreme Matt Keck. Alongside me is the light of my life, Paul.
Dancing with the Stars Shield.
Ooh, yeah. I hope one day that just comes true. I would love to watch you on Dancing with the Stars. I think you'd crush it. You'd do better than Adam Carolla did.
Like a some bitch.
Hell yeah. I've seen you do-si-do. Is that a thing?
I've done so many doses.
I've dosed the does. So we're back. Master Traitors Podcast. And we're here with episode 2 of the Traitors US Season 2 on Peacock, and we got left with 2 cliffhangers at the end of episode 1. We did. Our traitors, Dan and Phaedra, must decide who will join them as the 3rd secret traitor.
Who will it be?
And they also have to kill someone for the first time.
Murder.
And we get the reveal of who they choose as their fellow traitor first, and we get all these fun little cuts, all their little choices they might have. Everyone's sitting in their room waiting for the note.
They show the one of
Parvati really wants this note. She's looking in the mirror, like waiting.
Oh yeah, she is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they show. My favorite is they show Kevin, the Asian guy, the rich Asian guy, in the bathtub, like a bubble bath, and he's like washing himself, and it's glistening.
He's got that full.
He is one
Wild Hunt Wisher.
That is one sexy Asian.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're gonna have some representation, you might as well look that good.
And they show Johnny Bananas taking his shirt off,
like
to go to sleep.
I mean, listen, sometimes you got to peel the banana, right?
I think they show the Parliament guy in like his PJs. Little cartoons on his PJs.
Him and fucking Paddington hanging out having a fucking marmalade and tea. And so they chose Parvati. Parvati, that was the 3rd traitor they chose. And I do think she's a good choice to be a traitor. I think she will help the traitors win, but like you were talking about last time, I think she's a Black Widow. She's a snake in the grass. You've picked someone stronger than yourself.
Yeah, don't do it.
Dan has overestimated himself here.
I've seen Parvati on more than one Survivor.
Yeah.
And she... Yeah, Dan.
I
think you messed up, Dan.
Oh yeah, she will chop you off at the legs, Dan. Bad choice. Phaedra, you might be fine, honestly. I feel like you guys are on a close playing. We'll see how it goes, Phaedra. We're new to you. But Dan, that was not a smart choice, I think. But this is fun because she finds out she's the 3rd traitor, but she does not know who the other traitors are and won't until after a full day of competition. So she has to continue going around without the information, knowing full well she is a traitor.
And that there's more traitors.
And that there's more out there.
She doesn't know how many there are.
But
she
doesn't
knows
know
there's
who.
at least one.
Yeah. And so, the one thing I think Dan is smart about in these early things while they're discussing both the choice for the 3rd traitor and the choice for who to kill is he's going for confusion. I do think confusion is a smart strategy. He picks people that are from 2 different franchises, and he picks people that aren't connected to either him or Phaedra really in any way. Parvati coming from Survivor, and then, of course, we go to breakfast to find out who else they picked. Because they also had to murder somebody.
To murder someone.
And so they go into breakfast, and every time someone comes into breakfast, every morning they send the rooms in to the breakfast room, and it slowly reveals who survived the night, who didn't get killed. Phaedra seems a little eager at first, but... I also think that's kind of just her vibe.
Yeah.
Like, so to come in and make a joke,
I think
and then she cools
they're used
her
to her
jets.
being like that.
Yeah.
I think she's going to play under the radar pretty good with everybody because she's...
Because if she doesn't say something, it seems weird. But she always chooses the right moment and lays in like a pretty memorable line, and then she's really good at pumping the brakes.
I think those housewife people are good
socially. They have to
Yeah,
be, right?
so
they're
they
like
and they're going that on
socialites.
the show. They've got to learn to be actors and know when to say stuff, to stir stuff, and when to not.
Oh yeah, I mean it's pro
so,
wrestling, right?
Yeah, so you
Those
got to
reality shows are
learn
pro
that. So
wrestling.
she's pretty good at it, actually.
Yeah.
Now that I start thinking about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She chooses her
Yeah.
timing so well. And man, this breakfast, Trishelle, shut up, Trishelle.
Oh, jeez.
You're
She's
not
so
doing
annoying.
yourself any favors, Trishelle. She fucking hates Peppermint.
Yeah.
Hates the shit out of Peppermint. And it is not valid. There is not a reason for her to be going after her Peppermint like this. Peppermint did nothing wrong.
And she starts just throwing her name out there about
yeah,
how.
she's like, oh, Peppermint did this. Everyone start looking at Peppermint. That's who we need to kill. And it's like, girl, you are a faithful. You are a faithful who is actively trying to kill someone with very little proof. All that's going to do is make everyone else think you're a traitor.
Oh, because Peppermint didn't like her joke.
Yes. Oh, my God. You suck at comedy. Get over it. We suck at comedy, so we started a bunch of podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you do.
Some somebody out there going, boo. We got no boo.
Now no
hecklers.
one can boo us.
You can only
It's
heckle us
perfect.
in the comments.
Yeah, and
I dare you to try to heckle us in the
heckle
comments.
me in the comments.
Heckle
I
us.
want to be heckled.
Heckle those
Heckle
comments.
the fuck out
You
of
think
the
you're a
comments.
comedian.
So you a comedian.
Come on in.
So after Trishelle and fucking Peppermint fight again, they get down to the last few choices. They leave you the cliffhangers. Who are they going to choose? And we find out that Dan and Phaedra have chosen to kill Johnny Bananas.
That's bananas.
It actually kind of is, like,
yeah,
pretty
not
crazy.
the person I would have chose.
No, he fucking crushed that first challenge. Like, I get it. You still have CT, and CT
Yeah, and
considers himself equal to Johnny Bananas,
He's
but
not.
he's
I could
not.
tell
Let's be real.
from that deal. He knew. CT even knows he's less than
He knew, yeah.
Johnny Bananas.
I mean, and I
I've
think,
never even watched the show.
yeah, I mean, you could
But
tell.
you could tell just
You can
from
tell.
that.
I know who Johnny Bananas is.
Johnny
and
got
that's,
up, started barking orders immediately,
Yeah.
got out, swim, didn't mind.
He
He's
knew
all
exactly what to do.
buff and handsome.
Not
and
who
he's-
I would have killed at
Mhm.
all. Because also I feel like Johnny Bananas is someone you can play a little bit too. He's not like he's like, yeah, he's really good at the challenges, but he's not like a master strategist or anything. Like, I think he would have been good. I think he would have done well, but I don't think I think you could play him if you needed to. And he's going to win you money. And you throw him away like this? So Dan's going for confusion, but man, the choices he's making just are not smart.
Yeah.
Right before they had killed Johnny Bananas, I was like, man, Dan seems kind of strong right now. He's going this confusion route.
Yeah.
He seems sure of himself. And then they killed Johnny Bananas, and I went, oh, wait. I don't know that Dan knows what he's doing. And then that made me second guess Parvati, because at first I was like, oh, great choice. And then I was like, oh, wait. I don't know that was a good choice, Dan.
Yeah.
And
Because Dan convinced.
Mm-hmm.
Because Phaedra's going along with what Dan's saying, because that's
Right.
her strategy.
Right. She's going to
Let him go.
let him play.
She's going to go along.
She's going to let him play himself, essentially.
Because I was watching because after they have a thing called the post-mortem deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
where they
yeah.
talk with the dead guys that got killed and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Phaedra's in there. She's like, he's attractive. I want to watch him play.
Yeah.
So she did not want him to go.
Yeah,
but she went along with it.
Yeah, she's got a crush on CT. She got a crush on Johnny Bananas. She just wants to watch these boys drag some fucking barges around.
Mm-hmm.
I love Phaedra. Peppermint early on, again in the breakfast at night. She got into a confrontation, but she didn't settle herself back into the game.
Yeah.
She got too offended by the confrontation and got herself into a lot of trouble, I think, because she's being too loud.
Yep. She went to drag race mode.
Yes. She went
During
to the
breakfast.
shade and snap
Yeah.
and I mean,
And that works in drag race because
But this is
everybody
not
you're doing
Drag
it
Race,
with
right.
does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
These people are used to that.
It's a different conversation. She put such a huge target on one. Yeah, she sachets through, catwalks on them, whatever. But at the same time, the louder you are, the more people are thinking about you. And right now, if you're a faithful, you don't want anyone thinking about you. That's how you get out of the game. Yes, Trishelle brought you up, but then you being loud about it and being extra about it makes people more doubtful of what your intentions are. The louder you are, the less people believe you.
And also you're out there. So if someone brings out your name, the more likely you are to get them out, vote with you to get you out of there.
Right.
Because if they don't know who to pick.
Right.
Because that's the problem with being the forefront.
Yeah. No, I mean, exactly right. And this is a problem I have when we play werewolf, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm someone who talks too much, who gets too loud, who gets a little worked up. I come up with these strategies in my head, and I get so excited to play them out, and then someone accuses me, and sometimes I can be a really good liar, and sometimes I know that I do the loud thing, and I'll do it on purpose to trick somebody. But I'll do the loud thing. I accidentally get too loud sometimes, and then it gets you killed every time.
You're good at talking yourself out of stuff, though, too.
Sure.
So if you get somebody,
I can give people a believable reason.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they won't kill me, but I can give them at least a little doubt.
These guys suck at it.
They're not good at defense.
They're horrible at it.
They're just like, why would you? What did you? Hey, did you?
Yeah.
And it's like old John saying he's asthmatic. And then they have a challenge where they gotta go in the woods and carry these scarecrows, and he's running in the woods, and immediately he's not asthmatic. He doesn't have an inhaler. They call him on it. Like, yes, okay. So I was talking about how with Amber while we were watching, and I was talking about how these housewives, I feel like a lot of what they do in their social circle is pick specific words and twist meanings, and that's the way of fighting. But that's not a good way of winning this game, because twisting someone's meaning isn't going to find you the real guilty person. That's how you make an innocent person look guilty, and that's a different game.
Right.
And so they accidentally are going into the game of picking apart little words, and I think they're going to have to learn their lesson.
She picked him because she thought, he was bionic.
Yeah, right. It's like,
bionic ears. I have bionic ears. I can hear.
Yeah, and he's
breathing heavy.
breathing heavy because he's an old man. He says, I used to be asthmatic as a kid, because people just kind of say shit when they're in the moment.
He's old.
And so, of course, he doesn't have his inhaler, but
Who was it that they showed him walking, and then they're like, hey, John, it's lights out. It's this way. You got to go upstairs.
Kevin. He was definitely drunk as fuck when they did that.
Oh, was he drunk?
I think so. Like, the beds are up here, bud. Beds are this way, because they sounded so frustrated. But they go running into the woods.
I see him, and you know what?
Yes.
He's supposed to be asthmatic. He's like running ahead of every one of them.
Exactly. He gets too fast. He ran too fast and fell face first in the mud.
Yeah, he did. But it looked like he was running, like his arms were straight ahead.
He was the bionic man.
He looked like this bowling ball robot arms. He looked like, when you go to the bowling alley and you get a strike, he looked like the cartoon of the ball running down the deal, running down the lane to hit the pins. I'm the ball running down the lane to strike the pins.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's what he looked like to me. I was like, what's those arms? Straight?
And he's
zooming.
My goodness. Yep. And he does. He gets a face full of mud, falls down. It's absolutely incredible. So this thing, they got to go in the woods. There's 2 scarecrows, and there's a question, and they have to pick the right person from each question. It's supposed to be kind of inflammatory, like, who do people trust the most? Who's the most popular?
I'm going to stop
for
a second.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Get to that. We skipped the most important part of our episodes.
Oh.
Rating
his outfit?
The outfits.
Okay.
And this is the reason why I stopped you here, is because
this outfit needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to Alan's outfit. We're getting ready for the challenge, and this outfit, let me tell you what. I'm going to call this the Tartan Frankenstein, okay? He's got these patchwork shorts, these tall combat boots that are green. I think they're like Doc Martens, I don't know. Under that, or above the shorts, he's wearing a full turtleneck with long sleeves that has like a weird chopped up tartan vest over the top of it. And originally, at this point, I had given it a 2 out of 5, and then I noticed the hair. There's some weird leather feathers or something.
It looks like a turkey comb.
What? Yeah, I don't. A comb over from. Yeah, it looks
like a chicken's hair thing that goes.
I have no idea what's going on in his head. He looks like something from Wonder Chosen. I don't even know.
He's got so many different colors and designs that don't match, and his shorts are like they're like I think they're like jean shorts because they're all frayed.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
jean
they
shorts
were
would be like
frayed.
you cut them yourself and they're like got the fray around
They're
them.
definitely not
I was like,
hemmed.
what the hell is he?
And
What is going on?
I feel like I'm looking at an abstract art piece of the guy from A Christmas Story that sells all of Scrooge's stuff in the future, that steals it all from his dead house. Like, he's covered in rags, but also fabulous. 1 out of 5 on this outfit, Alan. I'm so sorry. You tried a lot. There was too much. It's a fucking
I thought
mess.
maybe he's trying to look like that scarecrow from the.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to look like the scarecrow from the challenge.
I mean, it looked a lot like these scarecrows. These scarecrows are horrifying, by the way. These are very scary scarecrows. They look like kind of like Dark Knight scarecrows. And they're labeled different things. They're like, who do people trust their opinion more, Larsa or Marcus? And everyone picked Marcus, and it was right. The one that threw me off, they're like, who's more popular, Deontay or Peppermint? And everyone, rightfully so, picked Deontay. Deontay Wilder is a heavyweight champion of the world in boxing, but I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, man.
Peppermint is clearly more popular.
Well,
I get it though. Once that was the answer, I was like, I get it. I am completely wrong.
All the people they have on there, the housewives, all them,
they don't
the whole
watch
deal.
boxing.
No,
None of them know what boxing is.
Drag race.
They all
They'll
watch
watch
RuPaul.
that.
And then I thought
sure.
about it, and I was like, I don't watch boxing. I have watched a few seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race, not Peppermint's, but I've watched
boxing either.
I've watched a handful. Have you watched RuPaul?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We've at least watched some of it. So I was like, you know what? She's probably right. She just knew her worth. I was underestimating Peppermint. And everyone else did too, because she was the right answer. And she was just like, bitch, told you so. And, I kind of feel bad for Peppermint. We all underestimate her all at the same time. And she was the right answer. Dan keeps a low profile through this whole thing. Decides he's going to go after a shield. As the traitor, thinking...
No, they go. Well, first.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so they underestimate. Peppermint.
Yeah.
So they grab the scarecrow that's Deontay, and then they have to
take it
all the way back to get Peppermints to bring to prove.
And they had already started with Peppermints before that too.
Yeah. And then the next scarecrows was who is keeping quiet.
Yeah, and Dan was one of the choices.
And everybody picked Dan.
And honestly, I think this was the thing that might have really been the start of Dan's downfall, because that put him, he rightfully says, oh no, me being the answer to a question puts me in people's line of fire. And it did immediately. People were like, oh yeah, Dan's being too quiet.
Even if they didn't think about it. Because there's other quiet people, at least that I see, but that they're showing at least.
Right. And so he decides he needs to go for a shield to protect himself. It makes him seem a little louder to go for the shield, maybe. Like, it makes him seem like he's playing the game a little more.
I think it makes it seem, he thinks if he goes for the shield,
it makes him seem like a faithful, like he wants to protect
he's going to
himself.
assume that he's a faithful.
Yeah.
But
I don't know that necessarily is the case.
Right. Because the problem is, if you go for the shield only protects you against getting killed by
the traitors.
By the
yourself.
traitors. Right. By the traitors.
So he could still get killed when they all get around the table.
To argue it out. So the traitors would not want to vote out somebody who's everybody thinks is a traitor.
Yeah.
So if he's quiet, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So the ploy to do, if I was thinking about it and I saw you doing that, I was like, oh, he's just trying to make himself look like a traitor.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for him to. He's not been in anybody's mouth
He's
till
been
now.
Too quiet. He's been too quiet to need a shield.
Too quiet.
Why is he
whatever.
even worried about a
and
shield
then,
right
now? Now the traitors are seeing the sign that says Dan's too quiet. He might be a traitor. They're like,
and now
oh,
suddenly
it's on
he's
Dan.
going for a
so
shield.
they need to keep it on Dan the whole time so people vote against Dan.
Yep.
You know? So now they're like, we're going to keep him alive so people go against Dan. The traitors, that's the important part that the traitors need. They need a target.
Oh, yeah.
So that they can get there. So
once
they have
Parvati
to leave a target.
sniffed that, she was like, oh, yeah, people are already looking at Dan. I can use that.
Don't delete your targets.
No. Yeah.
You don't get rid of your targets. So
Absolutely
you leave Dan
not.
in if he is
a faithful. Yeah.
So you Dan, you don't got to worry about your shield.
He did not need to worry. But you know who did fucking great in this game is Deontay.
Ooh,
Deontay is
yeah,
a
he did.
top-tier faithful. This dude raked in the gold. He
Mm-hmm.
ripped these scarecrows apart.
Oh, yeah.
Old John Burkow thought he was going to get killed. He was afraid of being killed because of the asthma, and he was trying to get himself a shield out of that scarecrow and got nothing instead. Real shame, Mr. Burkow. Apologies. But they got 8 out of 10 of the gold pieces, so that was $16,000.
Are those gold pieces like doubloons?
I guess
I
that's
don't know
what they're supposed to
I don't
be.
know what a doubloon looks like.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I feel like they look like they honestly just look like giant chocolate pieces to me. I just want to rip
they're
one
probably not
open and
really.
eat it.
They wouldn't have left it out there if it's real gold.
They might have,
Maybe they did. I mean, I guess there's cameras on it.
Yeah, true.
So you can tell.
No, it's probably fake, but
Yeah.
still, it could be. That'd be sick.
You just look like gold hockey pucks.
They go back to the house because you got to do all the talking and people.
Yeah. So they accomplished it. They got how much did they win?
A $16,000. Each gold piece was worth $2,000. They got 8 out of 10, so they got 16 out of 20,000.
And then Alan made a case that Dan was the only
Dan
one.
wasted some time going after that shield.
Yeah, and that Dan was the
It
only
did make
one that
him look
had
bad.
a shield.
Instantly made him look bad.
Yeah.
Bad move, Dan.
Bad
Dan,
move,
you are
Dan.
not playing this game very
Dan.
well. So he goes back. There's a couple scenes where he talks with Parvati. He's getting kind of flirty, and he's really just leaning right into her game. She's going to play him like crazy. She doesn't know he's a traitor yet, though. So she thinks she's playing him, but he does have the upper hand as of right now because he knows that she's a traitor and he's a traitor.
Right. And he's going through and talked to her on numerous occasions.
Almost too many times.
At this, because she doesn't know he's a traitor, and he's just trying to, I guess, figure out how she's going to play, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why he's doing it, but he's going, I mean, it just looks suspicious, but maybe tell her they edited it.
Right.
Maybe
I agree.
that was
I
the
thought
deal,
I thought he was showing his hand too much.
Yeah.
So
Phaedra didn't do shit.
no, she's smart.
just
She
goes
sits in the
around, moves
room and
around,
waits
doing
for
her
a
own
moment
deal.
to
Yeah.
make a couple statements.
Yeah.
And say something like, "Oh, child, this is too hard."
Yeah.
Things like that. Always writes sorry when she votes. Things like that.
Yeah.
She's smart.
Mm-hmm.
And after the talks, we do get to, the table, the group. They have to send someone home.
Oh, yeah.
They
This
have
one
to
gets
exile
crazy.
someone. Yeah, it really does. So Trishelle brings up Peppermint. Again, she just cannot let go this face that Peppermint made. And I really think Peppermint's her own worst enemy in this scene. I think Peppermint just reacts too loud and too brilliantly. And I mean, I get it.
There was a scene before that in the kitchen or something.
Yeah.
And she's trying to talk and she stumbles over words. And
Oh,
she says,
yeah. She accidentally mentions being a traitor.
Yeah.
And
she
that
doesn't
really
try-
hurts.
She meant to say, a faithful instead of traitor, but
She said
traitor
a
came
traitor.
out.
Now, it sucks because when this happens, and I've been in these games before too, people say the wrong thing and everyone kills them, and every single time it turns out they weren't actually the bad guy.
Yep.
And it's because
It's just stumbling over the words.
People fuck up, especially if they're going
It's
to be
the name
in
of the game. Traitors.
Oh, yeah. If
So
they're going to be...
It's a thing that pops in your head.
If they're going to be in this house all the time with each other, they're going to say something wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to stumble on a word or two. That's not how you find the traitors. You got to follow the patterns. And
If the name of this game was Faithfuls,
listen to people's... Yeah.
it would have been easier for her. I think she would have said Faithfuls.
Yep, I agree. I feel bad for Peppermint because she did. She stumbled on words multiple times. She talked too much.
Yeah. And at that point, that's when... Because here has...
And then, of course, John gets thrown onto the bus, too. But
Oh, yeah.
Because of the
at the round
asthma.
table. So at the table now.
yeah, we're at that
Yeah.
at that table. And Peppermint, she gets thrown under the bus. John gets thrown under the bus. Those are like your two main suspects, I feel like.
Yeah.
But Max does stand up for Peppermint.
Max. This is when I'm like, oh, Max has fucking
Max
been
is
thinking
like,
this shit.
He's like, Trishelle, I feel like you're overreacting. This is what a traitor would do. And I agree.
And he's
she
like-
makes herself look like a traitor by how much she's going after. She won't drop this thing.
Yeah. And this deal about her getting overly sensitive to
Uh-huh.
her saying something about her clothes.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it was. And he's like,
Yeah.
this seems inconsequential when they ask him about it. And he's
Yeah.
like, this is inconsequential. This doesn't mean anything to this game.
Yeah, it has nothing to do
Yeah,
with
I'm
the
looking
game.
at Matt. He's like, he seems like a smart dude.
Yeah.
He's like calling out all the right stuff.
Well, because there's not real evidence in this round,
Yeah,
right? You
and
don't
he's like,
know
nobody has
anything
any
yet.
evidence.
The
No,
only
there's
evidence
nothing.
you have is Johnny Bananas is dead. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that could mean something, but honestly, if you're smart, it means nothing. Like, you would have to be
Right.
pretty stupid to kill the person that links directly to you. So, if anything, it just means maybe it's not that person, but maybe they've thought it over and double. So, it means nothing.
It seems like I would assume if I was sitting at that table and you killed Johnny Bananas
Uh-huh.
and it came in there and Johnny Bananas killed, it's just a throw off vote
Yeah, obviously.
to try
It's
to
way too
mess
obviously
with
a
us,
thrown off.
so we don't have any clue what's going on.
It's
because
like you
this
chose
guy,
the confusion route, but then you chose the obvious confusion route that makes it obvious that, like,
because he's good at he's
why
good,
would you kill
Why
him?
would you kill him? Because he's good at
Yeah.
all the shit.
Yeah.
They probably got all the money at the friggin'
Yeah.
Scarecrows if he was there.
He would have
still,
ripped. He would have ripped
Yeah.
through that shit.
Yeah.
I swear.
with his
So
one peck on one
yeah.
scarecrow, one peck on the other scarecrow.
Oh yeah, just whoosh, two at a time. He can just rip those things open. They got no brains, but Johnny Bananas don't need no brains.
Yeah.
Also, the scarecrows don't have brains.
Yeah. And they won't let the Peppermint thing. And then Peppermint admits that she
Accidentally
said
traded.
she was a traitor.
And then gets cut off by Larsa, and just like, that's all I needed to hear. And I mean, that's pretty much it when you're at those
I
tables.
fucking hate Larsa,
That's
man.
pretty much it. I know she's not great so
I don't
far.
like
She's
her.
not good at her accusations are bad. So Trishelle makes herself look bad, but she ends up getting Peppermint voted for.
Yeah, they go around the table to vote out who's going to vote for everybody, and
there's
everybody
some John votes.
only two.
No, yeah,
There
not
are
much.
Only 2 votes out of.
He defended himself well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
out of 20 people.
Did
only
Ekin-Su got
2.
a vote? Is that right?
No,
Who got votes?
every single person voted for Peppermint except for
Oh, that's right, Max.
Max and MJ, the Shaw lady or whatever.
That's right. The Shaws of
Yeah.
Sunset.
Yeah, only Max and him are the only 2. And when Max put his up, he's like, I feel like you guys are
Part of
looking
the
at
hive mind.
hive mind. You're not looking at. You're looking at something that's has nothing to do with anything.
Called him out.
And that's why I'm putting John up there. And then MJ, she's like, I don't think it's Peppermint either. I'm putting up MJ as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so John only gets 2 votes, but poor Peppermint gets tossed.
Yeah, she gets like 8. All the rest
all
of them.
the votes.
Mhm.
Honestly, if I'm a traitor here and I see that Peppermint is probably going to get the most votes, I'm most likely voting for John because I want to have that in my back pocket of if I was a traitor, why wouldn't I have tried to kill Peppermint?
Yeah.
If I was a traitor, so when I'm a traitor in these games, I like to watch how the vibe's going, and if someone's gonna die,
No.
I don't vote for them.
That's the yeah. Yes, if you are a traitor,
you don't
and
want to
people
kill
are
people
voting
if
for
they're already
this,
gonna die.
Yes, because you can use that as
As
defense. Like, why
build
would
your defense.
I actually stood up for Peppermint, and she was a faithful,
right.
and you killed her. I was one of only 2 people
Yes.
that stood up for her.
Yeah, and now
and
you've got that in
killed
your
her.
pocket.
Yeah.
And so
And
if you're a
I am-
traitor.
Yes. So, you know what? Me and MJ, definitely not traitors.
Yeah,
Right?
that's how I use that info. And so
that's
if I
why
was a
I
traitor,
say-
I would use that.
And that's why well, I was going to ask you who they should have put in at now. So they go to do their votes.
Yes.
Right? The
Yes.
traitors go to vote who they're going to kill.
Yes. So Peppermint's gone. Now, before we get to the traitors, there was one moment in the show that I thought was really interesting, and that was Deontay's reactions to accidentally killing the wrong people.
Yeah,
He was
starts
very
crying
emotional
and
about
emotional.
it. Because he goes, you always hear about how the hive mind gets everybody thinking something, and you get convinced to something, and you never realize that you're the one that could also get convinced to something, and then you do. And I think it really messed with his head.
Yeah, he starts crying when Peppermint because he was like, "Ah, man, I really went along with that hive mind thing."
He
I was
got
doing-"
swayed.
and I'm like, "This guy is either
Either emotionally, like,
and he
trauma, or
did,
like...
he's really not a
He's not like a stern, like tough, like
Well, yeah. Well, I was gonna say he's
alpha
He's either
type. He's a team player.
He's either faithful, or he's faking it. Well,
or he's either a faithful or this heavyweight boxer is an incredible actor. And
Right.
needs to shift
right.
what
exactly.
he's doing. So now we go to the traitors, and they got to decide who they're gonna kill.
Parvati's in there for the first time. They now have 3 traitors.
So she comes in, and then Dan and Phaedra reveal themselves, and then she's shocked. Tells them they're doing so good. She had no idea it was them. I don't know if she's playing them here or not. I don't know if she had any idea or not because, well, she's a good player. She might have known, but I don't think she knew. She certainly didn't know Phaedra. She may have had an idea about Dan because he sniffed around too much, but I don't know. She played it off enough that I believe her. And then they had to decide who they're gonna get rid of. Now, who do you get rid of here?
I get rid of Max or MJ. That's who I get rid of.
Yeah.
I get rid of them because I know I would
shouldn't-
assume
people wouldn't think they're traitors.
Right.
Because they didn't
people
kill.
are going to think you're traitors. You're the 2 that didn't vote for the faithful.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. I think here, for me, I'm voting for either MJ or I just get this feeling about Sheree where if I'm a traitor, I don't want her around. I think she's sneakily smart. She was like, she knew that Peppermint wasn't it, but got tricked this one time.
Yeah.
I think she's on to Dan a little bit.
Yeah.
I think she's one I might take out too, but I think MJ is also a strong move. And Max, you're right. He's really discerning right now.
Well, but then there's also there's one point in there also that and I started when I had written down that I had thought that was the case. And then when they brought him up, I was like, oh shit. Because right after the vote,
yeah,
Michael Jordan's son,
Marcus
Jordan, sat Dan down and told him,
yes,
you're being
too quiet.
After we voted out Peppermint, I looked around the room to see everybody's faces, to see who was being quiet and didn't have the expressions like they, of disbelief or whatever, who voted for Peppermint and had a belief. And got to tell you, you're one of them. That's what he told him.
Now, Marcus made a huge mistake that's a rookie mistake in this game. You don't make your accusation off the first piece of evidence.
Yep.
You make sure you can build a full case.
Yeah.
Because the first piece of evidence could be leading you down the wrong trail. And you certainly don't confront somebody on a singular piece of evidence because they could be the traitor.
What if they are the traitor?
If they're the traitor, you're letting them know that you're starting to sniff them out. And they're gonna kill you.
He literally went to the traitor
and said, hi, I think you might be the traitor. And, of course, that's going to put you in the line of fire. So, that's a bad move.
If I'm one of the traitors,
I would kill him if he did that to me.
I would have voted for MJ or Max. That's what I've done, just because
But if
people should know, be smart enough. You would assume be smart enough not to vote because they're faithfuls. But
if you're Dan, you might pick Marcus.
I would pick Marcus because he's onto you. You don't want him talking to people.
Sniffing
you don't want
on your trail.
You've already had that, so much of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Dan. He had a damn scarecrow up that said he was too quiet.
Yes.
Why did he not switch up by the point at the table?
I don't know.
Dan going down my list. The people that weren't going to make it. The only person I had that I was for sure not going to win this damn thing is Bergie.
Yes.
I had him at the bottom of the list.
Same.
Now I'm pretty damn sure that Dan is not going to make this.
I'm pretty positive too. Bergie is still on the bottom of my list, and Dan.
And at this point, I guess you got to vote out Marcus. If you're Dan,
you do,
and the other two
Phaedra's
seem to be going along with him,
because they know that the target's already on him.
But I think by way they were talking, I think that Parvati is just doing the same deal.
Yeah,
let him talk his deal. Let him go through. If he say, because every time he brings up something, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's correct.
a great idea.
Great idea.
Make him feed the ego.
See, that's the thing.
Feed
Dan's
the
a
ego.
dude. Dan's the guy. Parvati 100% knows how to freaking flirt.
Oh,
She's
she knows how to play that guy specifically,
how to work.
too.
Yep. Work an ego. Work a guy. Give him that ego.
Man, Dan is just making mistake after mistake right now.
Good idea.
He really is. So who do you think's making it? Who do you think right now? Who do you think?
How do I
gets to the
rank
end?
them? How do I rank them?
Yeah, top
Okay.
three.
My number three, I have Janelle.
Okay. Yeah.
I moved Janelle into my number
She's
three.
She's been cutthroat but smart about it.
Yep, she's been cut. The thing is, she's loud.
Uh-huh.
One of the problems is I think she's known that she wasn't they know that she wasn't a traitor from the way she
Went for the shield
in the beginning, but then they voted another traitor in because she could have been brought into there.
Right.
So it doesn't make too much difference.
Right.
But
Right.
she is making noise in a way that people are going to start going for her.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And noise in a way, because last season I watched it, and there's this girl. I can't remember who it was, but she was in there the entire time, and she's like, "You guys are going to vote against me. Just vote me out." She's literally told them, "Vote me out, please," and they wouldn't vote her out the whole time
because they're like a traitor wouldn't ask to get voted out.
They kept accusing her. They would never vote her out, and the traitors wouldn't vote her out because
she's the target.
She's the target.
That's a distraction.
I think Janelle can play
at
some
that
point
role.
is going to be able to play the target role because she knows how to.
She can be
divert people, right?
Yeah.
Not get everybody on her deal.
She can take a little heat,
and I think she'll use that as her excuse too.
Interesting.
I'm a target, man.
Yeah.
You leave me here, they're gonna freaking. You cannot. You know. I'm a target. They won't kill me.
That was a good pick. Who's
your
number two?
And my number two, Parvati.
Yeah.
I brought Parvati in too.
Now that she's a traitor.
I took out Sandra
and
put Parvati in there.
She's got the leg up.
Parvati is going to have to get Sandra out at some point.
Probably early, too, I feel like.
Yeah, she can't do it too early or she's going to be suspicious.
Right.
Right.
So I feel like she's got to wait
can't be this time.
rounds, maybe 3.
It can't be this time for sure.
Right.
Maybe in a couple episodes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or it might be a deal where
you wait for a moment where Sandra shows up.
She's also got a spot where she can team up with her. And if she thinks Sandra's not onto her, she can bring her along, and that's her excuse for not being a traitor.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, I've voted Sandra out by now. And I've still got Phaedra as my number one.
She's playing a strong game. I think I'm going to be pretty close to yours, actually. My number 3 to win the game at this point, I think still I have Max up here. He's got head on his shoulders. You know, he sniffed out Trishelle.
My problem is with Max is that I think he's going to be a target.
Because he's playing too strong.
Because now
he's
they have to
obviously
know
a faithful,
that he is a faithful.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know. I think
he's
been.
His hand
he did. But I don't know. I think he still makes it through because there's enough other targets right now. If he can play a smarter game from here, I think he'll be okay. After that, I have Phaedra. I moved her down to number 2 because Parvati right now is who I think has the biggest chance to win.
Ooh, you put Parvati up number 1.
I think she has the biggest chance to win right now. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, just because I think she's slightly more cutthroat maybe than Phaedra. But Phaedra's playing a great game, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's why. The newness of her being in there is the only reason I put Phaedra up above her. Is because I think Phaedra has the realization of what's going on.
Yeah.
And so she's going to be very suspicious of her.
Yeah.
At this point.
That's a good point.
So that's why I have her ahead of her at the moment.
I like it. I like it.
But I could very easily I could
really be convinced either way at this point. And so that leaves us with, again, another cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun.
Who are they going to kill next? Who will not show up to breakfast? If you're caught up on the Traitors US Season 2 on Peacock, go ahead and click over to Episode 3. We're going to discuss Episode 3 of the season. And, Follow along with us on our main podcast, The Bottom Boys Cast, where we get to the bottom of everything. And follow along on our social medias at Arson Club KC. I am your Snake Daddy, your Cheeseburger Princess, your shit poster supreme Matt Keck. And alongside me is the light of my life,
Paul, the bowling ball running down the lane cartoon at when you get a strike. Shields.
I like when you get 3 strikes and there's like a little turkey that looks like a bowling pin. All right, guys, follow along with the Master Traitors. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.